outsource or not to outsource? That is perhaps sometimes one of the most difficult questions as we discuss in our book. From the vendor's perspective, is the managed service something which he has the capacity to excel at? As for an operator, the question is the managed service something which actually he wants and needs? There is a very real risk of "we've got one too" setting in here. For example, witness the number of GNOCs being set up in countries where other businesses are removing them. Perhaps not so much for failure to perform, but cultural issues making it difficult for the CSAs to handle the calls. Let us be specific. There is only one reason for outsourcing, which is that through the vendor's skill and innovation, the service can be delivered more efficiently than by the operator. This may manifest itself as reduced operating cost, bundled pricing with equipment overlay, potentially saving capital and capex, headcount reduction, speed to market, and so on and so forth. In the modern telco environment, there is no place for any other motive. Furthermore, organizations on both sides of the fence are in for a rude awakening if they stray from that precept. For in that mode, an MS is doomed from the outset, quite honestly, and it would have been better not to have ventured into it. We can draw out several types of vendor-client relationship. The first is the national operator. This is what I describe as an island network. It's on its own. The second is the multinational, where, for example, a parent operator holds a controlling interest in networks from several countries. That's the first step, but then it is essential to consider the vendor. Does the vendor have an in-country presence already? If the vendor does not, what are the reasons for approaching the client? Is it, for example, a strategic move to allow the vendor entry into that particular market? If the scope is NOC operations only, can the margin really justify the outsourcing? Let us review some basic truths here. In most cases, the vendor will inherit the HR force from the operator. That in itself is a painful exercise. Staff settled in their positions are bound to be wary of a plan to migrate them to other organizations. If the vendor is going to show an outsourcing dividend, how is he going to derive that saving? If it is NOC operations only, and that is to be hosted offshore at the vendor's GNOC, then it is unlikely that a significant percentage of the operator's staff will be migrated, so the operator is facing the severance of close to 100% of his staff, who fall under this plan. Reducing labour rates will be unpopular, and we have seen attrition rates even towards 100% per annum. What does that do? It leaves the vendor stuck. Now, facing the loss of his workforce, he is forced either to retract the pay reduction or ship in his own staff to replace those lost. By definition, that is going to be more expensive, thus blowing the managed service budget clean out of the water. So, we realize that simply mirroring the client organization has the potential to increase cost and not reduce it. What are we going to do? We must accept that a truly mutually beneficial managed service must require the hosting of multiple networks from one country. That way, not only can the GNOC deliver, but the SPM and FLM organizations can also come under the remit of the MS. In fact, that is the quickest way to show a performance improvement, through the reorganization of FLM and SPM teams. The main reason for setting up the first project in a country is to use it as a springboard for other networks from the same country. Operators need to make a quantum leap. MS is not about offloading the bits of the organization that are difficult to manage, they don't like, or are costly. MS is about the skillful delivery of a raft of measures which, coordinated, deliver the same or better service at eventually a lower cost. Note that I said eventually, as it becomes obvious that lower cost is the objective, not the immediate result. One question which vexes us is, why should a multinational operator outsource? Let us work by example. Imagine an operator headquartered in Qatar with operations in the stans of the old Soviet Union, Laos, Thailand, Bolivia, Fiji, etc. By outsourcing this network, he is handing over its operations to a third party who, in order to stay in business, must make a profit. So why not reverse the trend, but in a smart way? Let this operator build his own GNOC, perhaps for good measure, say two, one in Bangkok and the other one in Bolivia, with diversity redundancy that can support all the networks within the remit. In other words, in a very real sense, the operator can become his own outsourcing partner, here drawing most of the benefit from that which the vendor would have given him anyway. That is, assuming that the FLM and SPM is not included. In this scenario, the only value benefit that the third-party vendor can offer is when he is hosting multiple vendors across a substantial spread of the countries in which the operator actually operates. What this all comes down to is a simple perspective. Only outsource if it is going to be done well, where the economics permit the delivery and offer a margin.